Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Mile High Game Guys board gaming podcast. I'm your host Adrian.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Jeff, turned all the way up.
Well, we gotta hope so at least.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll see.
Maybe I'll just turn you back down and be like, guys, I don't know what's happening.
I don't know. He's just he's whispering into his mic the whole time.
Yes.
Someone said I was very quiet, so.
I was going to say.
See, now I'm going to be too loud, and then Zach's going to have problems.
It's just gonna those are Zach like problems.
Redlining every word I say.
That's fine.
Also, not only is that Zach problems, that's future Zach problems.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah. So, we don't need to worry about that.
I have it on good authority. He's an asshole, so.
Thought it was past Zach who was the asshole. Future Zach's a saint.
No. Everybody except for present Zach is a dick.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're still doing social distancing podcasting here in the Mile High Game Guys studio, because even though our state is starting to open, kind of, I don't know, there's a lot of vague things happening. We're still not meeting up.
No,
so,
correct.
So we're yeah, which is great because it keeps me from having to clean off the rest of the podcast table. I can just have my little corner that is cleared for me, and the rest can be piled with stuff.
That seems on brand.
Yeah. Bottle of whiskey's been staring at me for a month. Might end up drinking it at some point.
Which one?
Who brought
the
whiskey?
Fireside.
Was it Kaiser?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Kaiser left I think it might be a splash of whiskey in the bottom of this bottle. It's pretty empty. But anyway, this is a board gaming podcast, and we try to put the board games front and center these days. So let's go ahead and talk about some board games.
And our sponsor.
And our sponsor, Gray Fox Games. Haha, I knew I was forgetting something. Yeah, this episode is sponsored by Gray Fox Games. There we go. It's now locked in.
Woo.
For board games, we actually, for the first time since we split ways for social distancing, we all played a game together.
Yeah.
Not in person, but we hadn't played any games with all three of us this whole time. And then I finally quit being a lazy slacker and played Terraforming Mars with you guys.
Yes.
We played
the base one.
Yeah, we played base Terraforming Mars because there's a good scripted version that Zach found on Tabletop Simulator, but it's only base. It has no expansions.
No.
And
I had found one that had all the expansions except for Turmoil, but it didn't have any scripting. So even before we started, I was like, all right, let's boot this up and see how good the scripting is, because I want to make sure it's worth us not playing with any extra stuff.
Correct. And so we played. It was a long game. I forgot how slow a completely base Terraforming Mars start can be with corporate error, to where nobody has any starting production and you're just kind of like creeping along, clawing for any little bit of production you can get. So it took a little while, and ultimately in the end, I fell well short of a victory. I came in last. Jeff, you managed to pull off a second place victory.
But it was only 5 points in front of you, so it wasn't like a blowout for us. Unlike
True.
Zach.
But it was enough, Jeff.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was enough to but I was, I think,
90 something.
Yeah, I was 15 or so points ahead of you.
Yeah.
And I was at 76 or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't remember exactly. But yeah, there had been a brief moment where I thought I was in a good position and had a good engine going, and then it just kind of crumbled and didn't actually do much, which is disappointing.
I'm sure it was.
I learned later, I'll talk about my follow-up game of Terraforming Mars, because I played another game with Sid, but in that game that I played with him, we were talking about corpse, and when we were starting, he was like, yeah, there's not really an easy way to redeal or anything, so if you get really shitty ones, like Tharsis Republic, which is who I played in the first game with you guys, he's like, just let me know and we'll restart. We'll call it a mulligan. It was like, great.
I thought you were Thorgate.
You were Thorgate.
Yeah. That's right. I knew it was something TH.
Yeah.
Which one's Tharsis Republic?
That's the immigrant city-esque one.
Which is really good.
Maybe he said Thorgate then, and I'm just confusing him.
Maybe. Or
also,
maybe it's actually, yeah.
Also, the final scores were 90, 76, 72.
Okay.
Yep.
So I got within 4 of Jeff.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Well, it also didn't help that I was the first person to claim 2 milestones and the first person to claim an award. And then Adrian's award that you claimed, I tied with you on. So I got first place for the... yeah. And then I got second place for Jeff's money one. So...
yeah.
I was getting a lot of points from those.
Yeah. Yeah, your engine ended up real good. So, what'd you guys think of playing base Terraforming Mars? It's been a long time since we played pure base Terraforming Mars. What'd you think?
I felt the lack of Prelude, that's for sure.
Yeah, Prelude seems to be like the only expansion that I ever miss.
Yeah.
Because it does speed things up a bit and lets you start with like a more specialization instead of just being like, what does my hand have? What does my corporation have? And you have another route you can go down.
Yeah. I think it definitely settled for me that Prelude is 100% mandatory.
Yes.
Like, I don't know how hard it is to add just a single deck of cards into like a scripted version of that. Like if you can just import the Prelude cards and then manually pick some at the start.
I mean, it could be so easy as you literally have a deck of Prelude cards at your place and you're playing with us. You deal them out and tell us what they are and we choose those and adjust accordingly. Because none of them seem to have special rules. It's all just production adjustments anyways.
Yeah. There is a... I think you'd have to find... Because I think you can import them into the different mods that they have.
Marvel Champions has that where you can load in other decks, like the custom-made ones and stuff, into whatever scripted thing that someone is...
But you'd have to get get a scripted one already, or not a scripted one, but a pack of that already, or you'd have to sort of submit that yourself, I guess.
Yes.
Okay.
Or Adrian just deals out 4 cards in front of him and takes pictures and sends them to us.
Also true.
Yeah.
No, that would definitely be the way to go on this one, going from now on.
Yeah.
I've played with Venus every once in a while, but I'm always just like, whatever. And then like I enjoy colonies, but it's okay if I don't have to play with that one. But it's definitely with Prelude. It's like you feel it when you don't have that, and it.
I mean, I guess there are some Prelude cards in the deck. But
there are some Prelude cards and some Prelude corporations, too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I think my favorite thing from like other expansions that aren't Prelude is just the more variety in corporations. I think some of the corporations are more interesting from the expansions, but not necessarily enough to make the expansions mandatory for some of the other ones.
Yeah.
I do also really like the variety of the other boards from the board expansion that I'm drawing a blank on the name of.
Helios and...
Hellas and Elysium. Hellas and Elysium. Yeah. The more I've played on both of those boards, they're, I think, really interesting boards, and I think it adds some good variety to the game, especially mixing up the awards and milestones.
Yes.
So
I agree with that.
But I still had a good time, even if it did take forever. It was slightly sullied by the fact that I was getting increasingly hungry, and Megan had gotten home with I think we still played for like another hour and a half after she got home, and she was getting more and more sullen the longer my game drug on. She was like, how much longer? I was like, I don't know, it's going to end in like a turn or two. Well, yeah, a turn or two in late game Terraforming Mars might be an hour to an hour and a half.
And we went a whole extra round because we couldn't get one ocean tile out.
Yeah, we were short one ocean tile. So, well, we didn't have to be short.
Oh,
Jeff had enough money.
No, Zach did too.
Yes.
But I needed my money to get out the card that gave me 7 points, so...
All the more reason you should have funded the ocean, and then I would have gotten second.
And to be fair, for whatever reason, I thought it was ending that game because I thought the last ocean tile was already out, so that's why I didn't focus on it. Yeah. And then, like, halfway through, when I definitely didn't have enough, like, when I already had my plan going, and it was like, oh, it's not ending this round? Well, shit.
This is awkward.
Yeah. Zach would have been the one that had to do it, because I needed to get that Jupiter card out that gave me 1 point per tag, and I had, like, 7 tags, so...
Yeah.
That was definitely happening no matter what.
Yes, it was. Yeah, I thought the drafting worked pretty well.
Yeah, the scripted drafting was really good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you had to work it a little bit, that you had to drag it to your other hand.
Current hand, yeah.
Yeah, and then you sort of pull it back, but it scripting just moving all the cards to the left or the right. Just make sure you are clicking the correct one.
Yeah.
I mean, they do say go left or go right or whatever it says. And I think I ended up, the first time we played, I was like, okay, well, this is, round 2 was the first time you draft. I'm going to pass left, and I accidentally hit right. And I was just like, well, it looks like we're just going right, and I'm not going to tell them.
Yeah.
It didn't matter, really. But, yeah. There was a little bit of hate drafting in there, especially when it came to those Jupiter cards. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, I wasn't trying to keep much from you guys, and I don't think you were trying to keep much from me.
Not too much.
Who I was, yeah.
I usually just ended with garbage that no one wanted, so that made it easy.
Yeah.
What really happened is that there are a lot of times where it's like somebody had a good hand and everybody else had like mediocre hands, and so it's like, well, no matter what I take, you're still getting something good, so I'm just going to try and get what's best for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would end up with like 2 Jupiter victory point cards in my hand at the same time, so that's not going to happen.
No. I'm just saying, Jeff, if you'd have been like, Zach, I'll Venmo you $5 if you give that to me. I'm not saying I wouldn't have done that.
So much cheating. But yeah, so it was a good time. It was good getting to play a game together again. It ended as expected, where I lost. There was more gotcha in this one because all of the gotcha cards were in. It wasn't like my deck where I've pulled out some of the base game gotcha cards that I hate.
Yeah. Because you usually pull out raiders and I think hackers.
Yeah, raiders and hackers for sure. I think I have 4 cards pulled out total.
I can understand virus or raiders because they just remove stuff and they don't give you anything. But like hackers, you do get something for doing that. Mm-hmm. So, and there's a negative points part of it. So I feel like that's something that you should keep in the game. But
maybe.
And it also didn't help that, like, a lot of the plant-based, asteroids and stuff like that, Jeff just didn't get any. And so I was like, at least once, I know I had to be like, well, Adrian, I tried to put this out as long as possible, but...
Yeah, here it comes, buddy.
Yeah. So...
Yeah. So we played that, and then I followed it up a couple days later with a 2-player game of Terraforming Mars with Sid from the Slack channel. And we played on a web app that he found that is terraforming, terraforming-mars.herokuapp.com. He's talked about it a bunch in the Slack channel. If you're in the Slack channel and you can't remember what it is, just let us know and we'll post it up. But it's a web app you just play on a browser, which ended up being really nice at one point because I was able to switch from playing on the desktop downstairs. I was able to just send myself the URL via email and then jump on Megan's laptop upstairs and make dinner while playing it on her laptop. So I was able to switch computers in the middle of the game, which was great. But it's a little web app. It has all of the expansions and it has a little bit of scripting. So like it scripts all of your resource gathering every generation and things like that. The biggest problem that the game has is there's no undo button. So do not fuck up. Like if you do anything wrong, you're fucked. Like too bad. But it does drafting and everything, and it handles the drafting. Like you pick your cards and then hit, pass hand, and it handles all of that, which all worked really smooth. The biggest problem I think I had with it was I didn't super love the layout of like the cards and boards and like seeing your opponent's hand and stuff. But I think that was just the shitty little monitor I was on the desktop downstairs and then Megan's laptop monitor. I think if I played like on my computer here in the podcast room, or if like I ever get a second monitor for Megan's computer, like it'd work really well. Cause since you can open new instances in other browsers, you could just have like 2 to 3 browsers that are each focused on a different section. So you don't have to like scroll all the way to the bottom, do something, scroll all the way up to look at the board, scroll all the way back down. You just have to pick like one browser to mainly play in and then have the other ones just show you information you wanted to have at a glance. And I think that would actually work pretty well. The game overall went pretty well. We did one mulligan at the start because Sid had really shitty hand and prelude cards that didn't work at all with his 2 corps. Then it kind of reversed. He felt like he had a pretty good hand, but not any great corp options, whereas I had great corp options and great prelude cards that worked with them. So I had a really strong economy at the start. My titanium production was crazy at the beginning of the game, but then through shit draws and him hate drafting like a champ, I just couldn't get any fucking space cards. I couldn't get anything to spend my titanium on. Like at one point I had 11. When I finally got to play my titanium, the first thing I bought with it was the one that makes them worth 4 each instead of 3 each. And after I played that card, I still had 11 titanium. So it was like, fucking, let's go. I'm ready to play some space shit. Jeez. Ultimately, he fucking stomped me. Unsurprisingly, Sid is really, really good at basically any game that Sid plays regularly. So he's really good at Terraforming Mars. I felt pretty good about my score. I ended up scoring 99. So I felt really good about my score. Unfortunately, Sid scored 150. So
he felt a lot better about his.
Yeah. So Zach, you were talking about how in our game you tied me for the milestone I funded, or the award I funded. He beat me for the award I funded. And he let me know repeatedly throughout the game as he got closer and closer to taking it from me that it was such a bad choice for me to have funded that as early as I did. It's like, you don't need
because now you can go for it.
It was the money one, and he was like, specifically with that one, he's like, you really should never fund that one early because it's too easy to get money in this game, and if somebody knows that they need to go for it, they can just stockpile money cards. And it's like, I mean, you're not sense. Wrong, but but it's not making me feel any better.
Sure.
Now, one thing I wanted to run by you guys, because this was a very interesting thing that came up in our game. He was talking that he felt the 16 card collector award or milestone was one of the most powerful milestones in the game, and that it was super advantageous to try and go for that one and just try and get a bunch of cards early. Like, try to focus on getting good cards. Like, don't waste your time buying obviously shit cards, but focus on buying good cards and maybe sitting on them long enough to get to that milestone. And then also, he was saying, like, kind of the thing you can do there is you can start to save up some of those like space tags and earth tags and things, so you have a chance a few rounds in to maybe get some of those other discount cards out. So when you start playing some of those cards, they're already cheaper, and then that makes up for the delay in playing some of them. I was curious what you guys kind of thought about that.
I mean, that makes sense to me. That is definitely something that you can plan for, and obviously as you're just sort of waiting around. It's not like you're limited on the amount of cards you can play per turn. So you are technically, losing out on a couple bucks more or less by like not playing stuff a turn or two before you get that. But no, it definitely makes sense. As if you are able to get good cards in your hand, especially if you start out with like 8 cards or something that gets you card draw, then it totally is a viable thing to go for. And it's easy. It's those that's one that no one's going to really steal from you without you knowing, right? Because you could like play 2 cities. Like you have 1 city and then you end up playing 2 cities and then you end up getting out from somebody or any of those other ones. And that one definitely seems like you're going to have knowledge beforehand if someone is going in for it.
Yeah.
But I mean, probably only that one person going to be going for it, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I think Sid did end up getting that one, that milestone amongst many. He got 2 of the 3 milestones, and I think he ended up funding 2 of I funded 2 of the 3 awards, but he won 2 of the 3, so that wasn't great. Yeah. It was interesting to play. It was another one that went long, unfortunately. As 2-player games can sometimes, I think that's the one downside to that kind of strategy is it slows the game down, because if you're not playing a lot of cards, you're not boosting any of the parameters.
Right.
Or if you're not playing as many cards, you're not boosting them as much. So it kind of slows it down a bit. But yeah, it was good. It's always fun for me. Even I don't ever go into a game with Sid ever expecting to do well. I have occasionally done okay, but it's always really interesting playing with him because he tends to have like really deep knowledge about the games, and so hearing him talk about like more advanced strategy or metas of the games is always kind of interesting, and it's good to get that little bit of perspective, even as he proceeds to, beat you by 50% of your score. But yeah, I have another game of Terraforming Mars scheduled tentatively for Tuesday evening with Rachel from my D&D campaign that I'm running and her boyfriend, and then Ben, another guy from Game Night, who has been bugging me to try and play some online games with him. So now that I'm actually getting around to playing online games, I told them I would do a game of Terraforming Mars with them, and so we'll see how Game 3 of online Terraforming Mars goes. I'm not sure where we're going to play yet. I haven't decided which service I want to use.
Which one do you like better as of right now? Like just as a gut feeling, I guess.
Oh, it's tough. I like playing games on Tabletop Simulator better because it's closer to having like a tactile feel of moving pieces around and actually feeling like I'm playing a board game. Mm-hmm. But for Terraforming Mars specifically, I really liked having access to all of the expansions on that web app. Like we played with all of the expansions except for a different board. We played on the base board, but we had Venus and we had Colonies and we had Prelude. We didn't have Turmoil either. But so we had a lot of expansions, which the game gets much deeper and much more interesting, I think, with expansions. I even enjoyed having Venus back in the game, even if it also slows the game down. We maxed Venus in our game. So we maxed all 4 parameters before our game ended in the game with Sid.
Gotcha.
So
because he really likes playing with Venus, right?
Yes, he likes Venus a lot. And I would have been torn because I didn't really love the one play I had of it. But I think that some of that has to do with, again, like if you went and played Venus, even with the like Venus sub-rule of like bumping a stat every turn.
Yeah.
If you're playing just the base game in Venus, since Venus was that second expansion or third, I don't remember if the alternate boards technically came out first. But
I want to say they came out first, and then
Venus was the second expansion.
Yeah, and then Prelude was after that.
Yeah. So you basically were still playing, base corporate era Terraforming Mars, where you start with like just no production. Once you mix in Prelude cards, where you actually start with some production and start things going, I think that actually makes Venus a more interesting expansion in that situation. So, but yeah. So 2 games of Terraforming Mars. That's what I played. Jeff, what about you? What else have you been playing besides our game of Terraforming Mars?
So we did another little online game night online with V and Lance. Wes also joined in, and Zach joined in it later. But the first thing we played was Quacks again, because it has a very good scripted version of Quacks on Tabletop Simulator. Because we were trying to cruise around for a game we could play, and we landed on Quacks. So it was with Mike Jones, meanest person alive, and V and Wes and myself. It went fine. I don't know. It's hard to say what a game of Quacks goes like. You pull out of a bag, and then you just sort of get points, and then you buy stuff that are good. I ended up having an amazing last round. I getting just a fuckload of points, and beating Mike Jones by 1 point at the end of the game. It's like 50 to 51 points, and I came from like 34 all the way up to 51 in the last round. Wes had a couple Jeff pulls, which was just Snowberry after Snowberry, which are the little white push your luck pieces in Quacks. And that was about. And Wes hadn't played it before, so or at least hadn't played it in quite some time. And then I taught Mike Jones how to as well. So everyone had a good time. Quacks is a fun little light, easy game to get into. After that, he played Azul, because Mike Jones was going to turn into a pumpkin at about 9 o'clock. So he had
naturally.
to go. So we played a game of Azul.
So
I haven't
And
played
that's
Azul.
where I came in.
Yes, and Zach played Azul. And then we played Azul. And that's about all you can say about Azul.
Yep.
Okay.
I
actually enjoy Azul. It's pretty straightforward.
And there's a very good scripted mod for it on Tabletop Simulator.
Oh, nice.
It pulls out everything each round.
Just have to make sure you put it in your trash, or someone doesn't hit the next round before people are done.
Yeah. Well, that was your fault, Jeff.
Yes.
You should have just already known that you were placing bad. So you should have just accepted it.
Yep.
That one we play with Jokers again, which are I like playing with them. They're basically little wilds, but when you take one of them, it replaces the color of, say you're placing a five piece and you grab 4 blacks and 1 joker. Instead of placing one of the blacks, you now place a joker, so you lose out on that 10 points you get if you place all of the colors, all of that color. But it can really save you from I think it's going to end up getting you more points overall because it's easier to match up certain spots with those, which is cool.
Yeah. Have either of you played the Azul expansion?
The expansion or the different games?
The expansion. We'll just pretend that I meant what I said.
So the Joker? Yes, we did.
Yeah.
No, the new games, the new versions.
Okay. No. I have not played Stained Glass or the Summer Pavilion.
I played Stained Glass.
They are on Tabletop Simulator, and I don't know how scripted they are, but I know it's something that V has been saying she'd want to play at some point. So.
Okay.
No, I don't think I've played Stained Glass. I may have just seen it played at various game nights. I think I've heard Summer Pavilion is okay. It's once again just more Azul with different shapes.
That seems to be most of what I've heard about the new games, is that they don't really change or add that much, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
So, right on. That was it for you, Jeff?
Yes, that was it.
Okay.
Zach,
what about you?
And Zach won Azul.
Yeah.
By the way.
Yes, I won that one as well.
Nice.
Pretty much the only other thing I've been playing has been when I saw that you guys, or that Sid linked the web app for Terraforming Mars, I started playing some solo games of it when I just didn't want to focus on work or anything like that.
Yeah.
And it's I liked playing solo on the actual Terraforming Mars app or the game itself, but it just takes forever to do shit, because of all the animations and stuff like that, which are cool, but also bog it down, and also then you have to play it on the app or on the game itself versus this where it's just a website, and it's definitely not as visually interesting as I would like, but it's definitely better than what was that? The one of the first online games I had seen was the Brass online one. That is just, oh boy.
I think I've missed out on that.
It is, and this is the previous Brass, Jeff, not the current Brass. So
I assumed it was the.
Yeah, it's OG Brass as a web app, and it's
not the game that is number 4 all time already.
It is for the people it is for people like Nick who just don't care about how it looks as long as it functions. But I think this works well enough, at least for solo stuff. I don't know how I would feel. I do like playing on Tabletop Simulator the same way because it feels like you're actually playing with somebody, and I feel like I would lose that with this.
Okay.
But solo has been going fine. I think I won about half of them. And I do I played once with Venus, and then I didn't even touch Venus apparently, so I was like, okay, I'm just not going to play with Venus anymore. But yeah, no, I do agree with you too. It's nice to have those expansions available to you, which the actual game doesn't have either online. So
okay,
yeah.
Did you,
that's.
Did you crush all your solo games?
No, like I said, I won about half of them. One of them I realized when you play with I think with Prelude or Venus, it goes to, instead of 14 generations, it goes to 12.
Oh.
And I didn't realize that, and so I was like, all right, I'm gonna be able to get this on 13, and then after I hit pass on generation 12, it was like, all right, would you like to put your last greeneries? And I was like, what?
It's
over.
No.
But I had so much time. But yeah, no, that's But when I can plan for that and all this stuff, it's still been going well. And I do like that it's nice that it knows a bunch more stuff on here than than Tabletop Simulator does. So like keeping track of things and knowing what things you've used and which things you haven't, you still have to keep track of a lot of those. And so it's nice that as a web app that it keeps track of a lot of that stuff. So
cool.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, that covers what we've been playing. We did have a MHDD session. It went well. Not a ton happened story-wise to really talk about. It was kind of like we left on a big cliffhanger leading up to a boss fight, and then we had said boss fight, and then we had a little bit of role-play stuff, and then it was already like 3 hours later, and it was time to go. So it was a cool boss fight. I highly recommend, if you're following the Dungeon Delvers and you haven't checked it out yet, jump over and catch the video on Twitch. It was one of our best technical streams. Like, we're slowly getting better at using like Tabletop Simulator, or not Tabletop Simulator, Roll20 for D&D, and doing all the different screens and everything on the stream. So that's slowly coming together. It's all new to us, but aside from that, we can now banter about bantery things.
Hooray!
If you guys have any bantery things. Yeah. The weather's turned nice. It is officially the good part of the year in Colorado, in terms of like mild, enjoyable weather. That'll last for approximately 3 more weeks, I think. Maybe only 2. And then we'll have third winter, and that will be immediately followed by first summer. And it will suck, inevitably. But yeah, a little bit rainy yesterday. Jester's paws were super muddy this morning when I let her out before I went to work. But it had all dried up by the afternoon. Bright blue, sunny skies today. It sucked to be stuck at work for 12 hours.
I'm sure. I was just sitting here down in the basement.
Here at my place, I spend most of my time in the basement as well.
Yeah.
I've been trying to do a little bit better. So I've been reading Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson, which is like the Stormlight Archive. So I finished Way of the King, and now I'm reading whatever the second book in the series is. But it's the Stormlight Archives series from Brandon Sanderson, and it's super fucking good. So I've been trying to, especially on my days off, like maybe take my first cup of coffee and go sit outside before it gets too warm and the sun chases me back inside, and try reading like out on the deck. Try and get a little bit of vitamin C or D or whichever one comes from the sun. I don't actually know. D. Vitamin D comes from the sun.
Vitamin S for sun. So
I mean, that would make sense, which is why they obviously didn't do it.
Yeah. Or it could be D for daylight.
I think it's D for daylight. C is the one you get from oranges, which are famous for being C-shaped, right?
Yeah.
Sure?
No, they're famous for helping against scurvy on the sea. That's why it's vitamin C.
Vitamin C, okay.
Yeah.
I would like to remind everyone listening at this point in time that Zach is an accountant and not a medical doctor. So take all of that with a grain of salt.
Just an accounting doctor, yeah.
An accounting doctor. Jeff, how's the new job going?
Good. Everyone's super nice.
You said like Mike Jones levels of nice.
Yeah, everyone's just been like crazy nice the whole time.
Do you feel like they're just buttering you up for something?
I don't know. They seem to be all just pretty nice. Been doing the noon beers out in the garden with the coworkers, as we are social distanced out in the garden. And
I mean, that's what I'd say too.
Yeah. So I've been drinking a lot of beer at 12 o'clock. But that's after my day's over. I've already put in my day's work, and so I'm just out there hanging out with people. But I don't drink more than 1 or 2 low ABV beers because I have to drive 33 miles home.
That's what I would also say if I was, being recorded when I talked about day drinking on the job.
Not on the job. I am clocked out, sir.
Day drinking at work. How about that?
I mean, everyone apparently does that. So, but the warehouse specifically cannot because we have to drive heavy machinery around. So that's why it's after the work day. But going in at 6 a.m. has sucked. Getting up at before 5 a.m. to go in to work Commute's not been bad, though. It's just open roads the whole time. It's just whenever I hit a light. That's literally the only problem I ever run into. Just going, exactly the speed limit the whole time.
Yep.
Watching the sun come up. But now I'll be going in 2 o'clock p.m. Till 10. Or whenever it's sort of done.
So that should at least still be good for your commute.
Yeah, 2 o'clock shouldn't be bad. They did close 36 West, even though I'm always like, it's 36 West, not North, even though it goes like straight north and not northwest. But they closed down like the right 2 lanes by Federal, and they're just cutting big holes in the ground right now. So, but everyone's too afraid to go into the express lane, even though the express lane's clearly like open to all. So there's like no traffic in the express lane, and I'm just like, fuck you guys that want to sit in one line of traffic in that one lane. Just go over to the express lane, people. It's free until after
real estate right there.
Yeah, until after construction, and then I go over the white lines and go back into regular because you have to go in and out of the express lanes. But yeah, everyone's super nice. It's pretty similar to how Epic did things, except way better in every possible way.
That sounds about right.
I like the way they do their can pallets. They do them in 50s instead of 100s, so they can do 100, 150 orders.
Instead of 100, 200.
Well, no, Epic would still do 150, but you'd have to downstack 50 cans onto a pallet. Where here you can just be like, and here's another pallet of 50.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, that actually makes way more sense. I mean, like, yes, in theory you're using twice as many pallets, but pallets are fucking cheap.
Yeah.
That shit's literally growing on trees, guys.
I mean, it literally does. Sort of.
There's no draft going out right now, of course, but Avery got a founder's contract right before I started, and I have shipped out more Founders All Day IPA than I have all other Avery beer by far. Like, Avery is supplying like California, Colorado, and Texas, maybe Arizona.
Those are some big markets.
Yeah, with like all of the Founders beer right now.
So I'm kind of curious. I might have to do some research onto what that deal is, because I had moved away from Founders a little bit. I had been rocking that All Day IPA because, one, it's a pretty good beer, and two, it comes in a 15-pack for like
$18?
less than $12.
$16?
For really good prices. If you find the right liquor store, you can get it for like $16 for a 15-pack, which $1 a can is redonkulous beer prices. Excellent timing.
Not opening up an Avery IPA right now.
Yeah. So, but I had moved away from it because there were some issues where
Founders Tap Room back in Michigan was having
some issues, and were accused of mistreating some employees. And then also it was like, I should focus more on supporting my local breweries. Like, I do try to support local businesses, and things like that. But if Avery's actually getting a cut of the all-day IPA, and it sounds like from what you're saying, Avery's a cool company to work for, and they treat their employees well.
Yeah, so far.
Well, then it's almost
we get free lunch every day. They're employing the kitchen staff to make lunch for everyone every day.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, so it sounds like now I have a moral obligation to buy Founders All-Day IPA in the 15-packs for $16 in order to support Avery.
I like how it feels like you were just looking for any justification to go back to them. Just like, give me something. Just give me one thing.
I mean, I've had a month to try and sort through, what beer I wanted to start drinking when I came back. I was really glad. So I went yesterday, Thursday. I went to the liquor store Thursday after work on the 1st. It's like, all right, it's now May. Megan and I can drink again. And I went over to Molly's over on 44th Street, near where Paul lives. And I started to turn into the parking lot. And I saw the 20-person line socially distanced out of the store and down in front of the baby crib store that was closed. And I was like, no, fuck that. I continued on to Safeway, where I actually had to do some grocery shopping. And I was like, I'll just get beer there, since in Colorado, Safeway can now sell full-strength beer. And I was like, I'll just get beer there. And I was very happy to find that Safeway now carries those Eddie Line 16-ounce pint cans in a 6-pack for, again, only like $10, which is, I think, a great price for a 6-pack of pint cans. So I'm real happy with that. So I still got a beer I really liked to have for my first beers as I venture back into drinking beer on the regular.
That's good.
Yeah.
Whenever we start actually meeting again, Zach, you'll be good to know there's a 6-pack of the Apricot Sour that's sitting up there that I thought was a beer that Megan liked, and I was wrong. So when you guys start coming back over, that Apricot Sour will be available.
Dry Dock just did a total redesign on all their cans and stuff. They look real good.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
I'll have to look that up. I had not seen that.
Yeah, it came through our email of the beer world in news.
Okay.
There's offices and a lab and Avery knows what they're doing.
Not every brewing company is like Epic, Jeff.
I have come to realize that very quickly. Not everything is held together with staples and Scotch tape.
That's true.
Yeah. They have 5 forklifts. 6 if you count the stand-up.
Holy shit.
They have a robot arm, some crazy automotive plant robot arm that just stacks all the cases for them.
Well, that's handy.
Yeah. But their packaging machine has about as many problems as Epic's did, apparently.
So it seems like that's just sort of inherent to the packaging machine.
Into the world of beer packaging.
Right.
The 15 packs are new, so they're having problems getting the kinks worked out of the new 15-pack runs for founders. They also do Finkel and Garf's canning as well. Their offsite warehouse is across the street and is massive.
Okay.
Yeah. I believe
it's nice that it's right across the street.
The massive amount of tweak that they had sitting in that warehouse.
Yes, you did.
I do remember that picture. Do you have a cool pallet wrapping machine by chance?
Yes, I do.
Nice.
For all of their for the stuff coming off the pack line.
Oh, okay. I was going to when I knew you were kind of looking for a job back in the before times, and I was trying to get you a job in our warehouse at Trumo. One of the things that I was going to use if there was a position available to convince you to apply for it was that we have a sweet machine to wrap all of our pallets.
Yeah.
No more awkwardly crouching down in the summer heat.
Yeah, everything's inside at Avery.
That's also very nice.
That's very, very nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
Anything else bantery for either of you? You want to chime in? You got anything, Zach?
So I started playing WoW again because it was that
time. Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh no!
And so it's been going an expansion is just sort of getting caught up on everything that I didn't play throughout most expansion, because basically the cycle is you buy it right when an expansion comes out, you play through the opening content, and then sort of just stop, and then at the end
wait
of the
for new content.
Yeah, go to the expansion, and then you just sort of catch up on everything that you missed, so you don't have to just twiddle your thumbs for months at a time.
Paying $15 a month.
Exactly. So it was nice to just go through everything, and man, this story is bonkers, but they do a great job at presenting it. Their cinematic game is on point right now. And I'm looking forward to the next expansion. Who knows if I probably will stop subscribing in a couple months and then wait for the actual expansion to come out. I did go ahead and rebuy it though, or pre-buy it, so that I won't have to worry about that.
I'm waiting for that collector's edition.
Yeah.
I never bought the Battle for Azeroth collector's edition until I just came across it on crazy clearance at a GameStop, and I was like, I'll pay $32 for $100+ collector's edition, even though it wasn't a very good collector's edition, or nowhere near as good as they used to be.
Yeah. No, the only collector's edition I ever bought was the Wrath of the Lich King one. I still have that one, but all the other ones they have digital deluxe stuff.
It's everything except the physical stuff.
Yeah, so that's what I bought that for I think it's $60 for that. But then it's if you pay $20 more, you'll get this other thing, and also 30 free days of gameplay, so it's like, oh, that's $15 right there. So I'm only really paying $5 more, the justification that comes.
And then they stopped including game time.
Yeah,
which super sucks.
The new one, the Shadowlands one, has game time at least right now.
Okay,
so
that's good.
Yeah,
I think they needed to do that again.
Yes, because a lot of people feel that this is their worst expansion.
Yeah,
so, which is a shame. I've liked a lot of the zones and stuff that I've played, but it's very like a lot of it is like not exactly character assassination, but just like people doing shit. You're like, would you really be doing all this?
Doing that? Like what?
Yeah.
We need
Spoilers
Sylvanas to be. We need Sylvanas to be a bad guy. To make the story happen.
Yeah, exactly. And then at the end you find out why she's just being randomly evil, and you're like, okay, I guess that makes sense. But
did they explain
that? I mean, sort of. Not yet.
She's working for someone else.
Yes, I mean, okay. By looking into what the new expansion is, that's when you find out who she's technically working for, or made a deal with. And it's like, okay, I guess that makes sense, but it's like I would have liked to sort of know that stuff beforehand, or had it better dished out so it just felt like just weird moves that she was making. But I'll tell you, after getting, I just got the flying mounts for all the Battle of Azeroth areas by doing that Pathfinder stuff. It's so much easier to move around in flying mount. It's just ridiculous.
Well, I think you even started playing after they increased the reputation buff.
Yes, I did.
I did not do that. So it took me
that was
weeks.
one of the reasons that I was just like, let's just go and do it, so it doesn't take for fucking ever.
Yeah, it took. So it probably took you about a week to get.
just a week.
A week and a half, 2 weeks, somewhere around there.
I think mine was like 3 or so. It was a slog.
But I also wasn't. I was focusing more on story shit than doing everything I could to get that happen. Like I did all the new Naga zone. I thought that you had to either have that one or the Mechanome area. I didn't realize it was both.
How about both?
Yeah.
Ooh.
So I didn't even focus on the Mechanome stuff until that, and I was like, oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
And that zone sucks.
Yeah.
Because it's, you wanted to have the world PvP on because it gives you more rep and everything.
Oh, I once I started going in there, I was like, okay, how do I fucking turn this war mode off again? Because I can't. Whatever area I'm in is just like there are just so many Alliance players. I'm like, I can't fucking do shit on here.
It's riddled.
Yeah, so I just turned that off, and I was like, oh, I can actually
do
quest
things
in peace now.
Yeah. But there are some war mode specific quests and things that they added.
Yeah, I saw that, and I was just like, I don't care enough to deal with that.
Vishar? What is the...
it's like Nazarar or something.
Nazjatar? That zone was pretty alright, especially once you got flying and can ignore the very dense monsters.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. But yeah, I've been playing that. And then Jeff and I finished, the Division 2.
We finished the base game of Division 2.
Yes.
Or at least we got it, completed it to the best of our my satisfaction.
Yes, I don't feel like finding 6 other people to do a raid with, or however.
Yeah, we didn't do the raid content, but we did. We went all the way to tier 5, which was clearing out all the new factions. Like this drone faction came in and took everything back over, and then you have to do all the strongholds that increase the item level by 50 each time, and then we did all of that. And then we did all the side missions, which were like kill the loose ends from the main storyline.
Yep.
And the Pentagon and Coney Island. And it all sort of had like a little bread. I like that we did Coney Island last. I had no idea what that was, but Coney Island was kind of the breadcrumb that led into the expansion.
Which flies. So Division 2 takes place in Washington, D.C., but then Warlords of New York is the expansion. They basically bring you back to New York, which is where the original The Division took place.
Interesting. I didn't realize Division 2 was in Washington.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Hell, your main base is the White House. So.
Yes.
I also did not know that.
But now we are going around trying to find these rogue agents up in New York.
Which was kind of like the main theme of the first game. It was like this first wave of Division agents all got wiped out. or turned rogue, and now you're going to try and go after the main bad guys from the first game's
I think so.
rogue squad.
Yep.
So we played a little bit of that.
Okay.
So yeah, it really should have been called the Division Rogue Squadron, but
Speaking of Star Wars, the last 3 weeks have been the last couple episodes of the new Clone Wars season.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, have they been bangers! Like,
that's what I've heard. Yeah.
Yeah, their animation is absolute top quality. Like, blows out of the water the rest of the season's already good animation quality. Their budget went into these last 4 episodes. The last one doesn't come out till tomorrow/Monday, May the 4th. Be with you. But they had something they haven't done before. They did mocap lightsaber battles for Clone Wars. They brought
That's fucking crazy.
Ray Park to do mocap for them. It's been tying up a lot of loose ends. And these last 4 episodes are clearly cut from one giant movie length episode.
Mm-hmm.
And
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
Yeah, because it started with a Star Wars crawl at the beginning, like an actual movie would.
And you said this is sort of taking place around the same time as Revenge of the Sith.
At the same time.
Right?
So you're seeing the perspective of Revenge of the Sith from Ahsoka, Anakin's Padawan / ex-Jedi member, as these things are happening. So she has a little conversation with Obi-Wan, and he's talking about Count Dooku is dead. And you're like, oh shit, and that's your first time oh, this is happening right now. It's happening. The little conversation that Mace Windu and Yoda have about if Senator Palpatine doesn't step down, we need to take control of the Senate, and where the Jedi are oh, we have to overthrow the government because it's run by this bad guy. If he doesn't step down, that scene in Revenge of the Sith happens, and then a step later, Ahsoka and in the movie it cuts to the next scene, but a half step later, that's when Ahsoka walks in and has more conversation with those same people that were just having that conversation. So, yeah.
Yes. I need to watch basically all of the Clone Wars animated stuff. I haven't seen the movie or any of the series or any of that.
The movie's the worst
but I keep
thing
hearing really good things
by far.
I still hear it's not that bad in the grand scheme of how bad some of the Star Wars movies can be. If you're somebody who hates Star Wars movies, I've liked all the Star Wars movies, but I'm a weirdo.
It is particularly not well animated, but the Clone Wars gets much better after that.
Okay.
Yeah, and the first season is very
basic.
Yeah,
it was from 2007 or whenever it came. Yeah.
Well, it's I think from season 2 on, they start adding stuff that goes deeper, and because it feels sort of shallow level, I guess, in that first season.
Mm-hmm.
So, that happens in a lot of TV shows where the first one they're just sort of finding their footing, and then they're oh, okay.
And Clone Wars has a weird everything's out of chronological order because it's supposed to be filmed or told as a war newsreel almost.
Mm-hmm.
So, it has, little 3-episode arcs over and over and over and over, but they're all out of order.
Oh, okay. Right, yeah.
So, but there is, an official timeline that you can watch the episodes in order that's very easily accessible. But, boy, these last couple episodes of Clone Wars are real goddamn good. I know there's a bunch of Ahsoka Tano fans out there. I've never read her.
I know that...
she has a book, and she was in Rebels a lot. But this kind of is now going back before all that, and people are kind of huffy that they're changing a little bit here, a little bit there. But
and I think she's supposed to show up in The Mandalorian.
Yeah, they've cast Rosario Dawson.
Yep.
Yeah, which is great casting. I don't really know much about Ahsoka, but from what little I know, and everybody who really likes the series has been really excited about the casting. So I'm yeah. Plus Rosario Dawson is awesome.
Yeah. So I look the next episode's gonna be out here in just a couple hours. I'm real excited for that.
Nice.
So yeah. So I watched a little more Star Wars today. I watched some parts of Revenge of the Sith again. Revenge of the Sith is still hilariously bad at parts.
Yeah.
And then I watched a little bit of New Hope, just for some good Star Wars.
Sure.
And then I watched a little bit of The Rise of Skywalker. Because I was I've only seen it once, and then I went and I was okay. this is
no, that's what I did when we saw it the second time. I remember as soon as I got done watching it, I sighed, and then in our Slack we have like, especially like for big event movies, we'll have like little channels specifically for that. I just clicked on that channel and I just said leave channel.
Yeah.
Womp womp.
I like the part where it had all the Jedi voices of all the different like Jedis that have been not even in movies. That was okay. I like that part. It was cool.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember that part, to be honest.
It's like, we are with you, and it's like Sam Jackson and Liam Neeson all saying like
Owen was
yeah.
Huh. I don't remember
Freddie
that
Prinze
at all.
Jr.
Yep. Because he's Anakin, right?
Yes.
In
No.
the show?
No. He's one of the Rebels characters, I think.
That's what it was. Yes.
And he's Palpatine in the Clone Wars. Freddie Prinze Jr. is like a huge voice actor now.
Oh yeah. Cool.
So yeah, Star Wars.
Right on. Well, I think with that we can wrap up Banter.
Yes.
I think that's bantered us out.
And straight into the Bloody Minute.
Into a Bloody Minute, where I'm excited to hear about this Bloody Minute because I got a preview before the episode started. So, Jeff, take it away.
Take it away, Jeff. So this one was another Ant and Jeff classic. It was my Icy Vandals versus Resin Bull Reapers, who are all named after Full Metal Alchemist, of course. Usually our games go real hard towards me because Ant rolls like trash the whole time. This time, however, he did not roll like trash the whole time. In fact, he smashed the shit out of me all game. I think our last like really good game was the championship from the last league season, where it went perfectly fine both ways, like rolling totally average, and it was a good game. This one, not so much. He received the ball. I had 2 turns of absolutely nothing. He didn't pick up the ball on a 2+ and turned over because I couldn't get to it because it was turn 1. His next turn, it was a turnover on his side for a dodge. I took a chainsaw as well. He had recently bought a tree, so I was focusing the shit out of that tree. He ended up getting a touchdown on his turn 3. So I was okay with that because that would give me like 6 turns of bashing the shit out of him and getting his dudes off the pitch because he didn't have much of a bench or any bench, and I had like a 3-deep bench because I'm trying to foul more with this team. I got 2 KOs on my turn 3, and I was like, all right, things are looking good. And then just after that, I got double skull, reroll, double skull on because he had picked up the ball and I was hitting the ball carrier with 2 die, quad skulls, and then he immediately scored on his next turn. So it was already 2-0 at the bottom of 5, which is not great. I get a perfect defense, hit a couple more, nothing really happens. Then I get another double skull / both down into a double skull. Making my second turnover on that turn. The following turn, however, he bashes the shit out of me as Wood Elves. He gets a casualty and a KO. And then I go for a 1-die block, get a skull, but it didn't really matter. He gets another casualty, and then we hit the half. We both get a reroll, even though I have Fame +2 in the second half. He fails to go for it. He's fine. I go to pick up the ball on a 4+ reroll, get the ball, dodge away on a 3+ reroll to pass, and fail the 3+ reroll, because of course I did. Which the ball was close to my end zone, giving him yet another touchdown. Now it's 3-0.
Oh my god.
Then we get brilliant coaching. I get a reroll. In my second half, turn 4, I get yet another double skull, both down into double skull, both down. It's my 3rd re-rolled skull of the game.
Jesus.
Finally get my first casualty of the game after that. But right after that, he once again picks up the ball and scores 4-0 at the bottom of 5 in the second half. We get a weather change for our last kickoff of the game. I've been following the crap out of him all game, not really getting much. I can finally get a turnover on fouls. He fails to go for it. I fail a pass to get the ball out, and then he scores on his 8 in the second half for a 5-0 win over 5-0. Absolutely crazy.
Jesus. That is...
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Jeff. I don't have words.
He casualtied out a ghoul and one of my whites. In the last half, I did end up getting a couple casualties on him, but it was far too late for far too little. He ended up getting like 2 missed next game guys, but it doesn't really matter because they were all loners and other bullshit. He really only has like 4 players, his 2 war dancers and his 2 catchers, who all have at least 3 skills. Some have 4. He's got a plus edge, plus strength catcher, a plus strength war dancer, and then like a million journeymen. Because like his all of his linemen take his hard hits. But he has a tree now. His tree got a casualty, so yeah. But
that sucks.
Ant wiped the absolute shit floor with me in every possible way.
Gross. It's just a terrible phrasing.
Yeah. So my next game is going to be Lizardmen, the Prehistoric Preservation Society, standard Lizardmen list. He's got some Chameleon Skinks. I haven't seen those on the pitch yet, so it's going to be interesting how the Chameleon Skinks work. They're move 7 instead of move 8, but they have pass block shadowing, so they get a free 3 space move if they can get into intercept or mark the passer, I believe, is how pass block works. And then shadowing, it's like a 2d6 plus and minus movements, and they get a free like follow, and they can keep following the person. So yeah, that'll be interesting. Yeah, Lizardmen up next. See how that goes.
Yeah. Good luck. Hopefully it goes better.
Yeah, I mean, neither of us really took any major damage. Missed next game at the most in our last game, and it was just Ant's shitty, stupid linemen. So
I feel like you get an asterisk on all of this. Well, especially this game with Ant, because it was such an aberration from how games with Ant normally go. You get the asterisk that he was clearly not distracted by having to sit in the same room as you and your glorious hair.
I mean, not so even because the last game we played on Fumble, I absolutely destroyed him because his dice were so bad. So
oh, well then I don't know. I was trying to give you an out.
No,
that
there was no
it was
out.
just because you were playing on Fumble.
Absolutely destroyed.
Okay.
Yeah, but the ball was never on his half of the pitch all game unless I kicked it to him.
Oh dear.
Yeah, it was bad.
Oh dear.
It was real bad. I'll blame being exhausted from work. Except it happened on like Saturday when I was able to sleep. So
no one else needed to know that, Jeff. Oh, all right. Well, with that unfortunate bloody minute update,
yes,
complete, we can now move over to
my touchdown differential is now negative because because that 5-0 loss.
I mean, if you were to finally lose to him, it's
one way to do it.
That was the time that was just it was makeup for everything. It sounds like.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, right on. Well, let's move over to some news and Kickstarter and get these bad boys banged out.
First up on news, has anyone heard of Frosthaven?
No.
Yes.
Because it just made a lot of money on Kickstarter.
It made a stupid amount of money.
Making it officially the number 1 tabletop game Kickstarter of all time.
Yeah.
By like $400,000?
So the final take was $12,969,000, and Kingdom Death Monster, which was the previous number 1, was at $12,393,000. So
a $576,000 difference,
or maybe it was 400. No, sorry, it was 5. It beat it by like 450,000. I don't remember the exact numbers, but I think the most interesting thing about it is that Kingdom Death Monster's average amount per backer was like 700 or something like that.
643.33 is the dollars per backer for Kingdom Death Monster.
Yeah, 19,000 backers versus 83,000 backers for
exactly.
Frosthaven.
Yeah.
It's really funny if you look at the top 3 for board games. They're like 3 completely different situations. So you have Frosthaven with the $12.9 million, 83,000 backers, $155 a backer. Okay, like it took the top spot. That's a reasonable amount per backer. That's like an average like fancy minis Kickstarter. Then you have KDM with the 12.3 million, 19,000 backers, $643 per backer, which is just fucking bonkers amounts of money. And then number 3 on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, 8.7 million, 219,000 backers, $40 a backer.
Yep.
Exploding Kittens.
Massive market appeal.
Yep, not surprising right there, yeah.
I don't know which is more impressive, honestly. Kingdom Death or Exploding Kittens? Like, Exploding Kittens for the sheer number of backers, or Kingdom Death for the sheer price that each backer fucking paid on average?
Look, when you get into Kingdom Death Monster, you get into Kingdom Death Monster.
Oh, I need all of this now, don't I?
Yeah. And you don't get it if you're on a budget at all.
No.
Like, you're like, I've got all of my gaming budget is going to be for this.
Yeah. So I think it actually overall makes Frosthaven's accomplishment even more impressive, that it was able to do that like with a reasonable, like, expensive game price. Like, I'm not going to pretend that $155 per person isn't a lot of money per person. Like, a lot of people can't afford to spend that kind of money on a board game. But that falls in that like reasonable realm for a minis Kickstarter game these days, like $100 to $150. And for it to, with that per backer price, take number 1 spot. Pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess Seventh Continent at number 4 is a similar. It's $161 per backer.
I mean, that's 160. Tainted Grail's 150. Dark Souls is 175. Zombicide 183. Batman 228. And so it's like the 125 to 175 is like
when
the
you
bread
get to
and butter for these.
Yeah, I mean, when you get to that lower half, though, Tainted Grail and below, so number 5 and below, Frosthaven doubled their total, which I think is where it gets, like, Seventh Continent at least, like, 7 million is in the same conversation as some of those.
I mean, here's the thing, though, is that Gloomhaven was number 1 on BGG, right?
True.
So there's
a ton of hype behind it. Oh yeah. Well, and I think everybody remembers like the crazy amount of like hype and ridiculous prices that Gloomhaven was selling for after that first Kickstarter when it blew up and nobody could get it initially. Yeah. And it was one that like, and that's kind of the same thing that keeps driving some of Jamie Stegmaier stuff. If Jamie Stegmaier was still doing Kickstarter, he'd be crushing records right now because people would know, like they'd remember how hard it was to find Wingspan first printing and how much people were charging for it. And his Kickstarters would all sell out like crazy and have 80 to 100,000 backers. Like, I think that's going to be the big new normal for some of these really popular designers, especially. Like, I think we're seeing that a little bit again, where people latch onto really certain designers slash certain like franchises, we'll call them, like Gloomhaven and Frosthaven, like kind of a franchise thing. It's not the right word. It's not the word I want, but I can't think of a better word right now.
It's like I think that's one reason why founders of Gloomhaven did so well, is because people are like, I love Gloomhaven. Anything that it is, even though it's a completely different game from that, just the fact that it had the word Gloomhaven in it, like that's going to get that brand recognition.
Yep. So, super huge props to to Cephalofair and
I saw something
Isaac
that I really liked is like when it was at like 12.2 million or something like that.
The Kingdom Death update.
Yeah, the Kingdom Death update that was basically like rooting for them, and he's like, even though I didn't like Gloomhaven, and I'm pretty sure Isaac doesn't like Kingdom Death.
Yeah.
He's rooting for them, and then giving them a goal to hit whenever the next Kingdom Death Monster Kickstarter happens. Which, how the fuck, when will that even fucking happen?
I don't.
Because they're like still like I think waves 3 and 4 need to still be sent out for the original Kingdom Death one. And because they keep adding that Star Citizen syndrome of basically they just keep adding stuff, and so it keeps delaying it. And they're like, "Oh, if we're going to delay it, we better add more stuff for you." And it's just cylindrical, and yeah.
I mean, at some point it'll come out again, I think, but it'll be a while.
Oh yeah.
But I did like.
So my thing is just after those get out, like, what are they going to have a Kickstarter for?
Oh, yeah.
He can't have he can't already have a whole bunch of extra stuff already built up for that.
Right. No, I really liked, and he makes a valid point, like in that post on the KDM thing, like, because I think it was you, maybe somebody shared it in the Slack channel, but he made a point of like, it's nice to have somebody else like in our fucking ballpark, you know, when they were just over 12 million, because Exploding Kittens didn't even break 9, so they're still, it's a whole nother tier. Like the two of them stand out at the top of that list for having gotten.
Because of Exploding Kittens being mass market and not the same style, not even the same style of game, but just like it's a completely different thing. That like its closest competition before that was the Seventh Continent, and that's 5 million below it. So yeah,
5 million below it and half as many backers.
Exactly.
Yeah. So good job, Frosthaven. I ended up backing it for $1, so I might throw in more in the pledge manager because there's a part of me that really wants it. I've only played Gloomhaven once, and I liked it. And then it was one of those like FOMO things where then I was excluded, and it's made me want it even more now, so that I can just do it with other people. And I have control. I have control of the havens.
Next up in news, Z-Man is returning publishing rights to Feuerland.
Yeah. So this doesn't super affect any of us here in the good old US of A, but some people across the pond might care. So Feuerland Spiel has been kind of partnered with Z-Man since 2012 to bring some of the games to the English and French-speaking markets, like Terra Mystica, Feast for Odin, Gaia Project. And so they're giving the rights of those games. Z-Man is giving the rights of those games to Feuerland. So, yeah.
Do you know who's Feuerland's publishing or distributing partner in the U.S. is?
No.
Capstone.
Oh.
So, because it's already been announced that they are going to be releasing Terra Mystica and Gaia Project through Capstone.
I had missed that part of this update, so that is crazy.
Well, it was a different thing. It was like before this, so sort of like the preamble, more or less.
Because I was like, why is Z-Man publishing through Capstone?
Yeah, no, but yeah, it's because of this. Of Z-Man's basically just giving those publishing rights of all those back to them, and it seems like they're going to be working through Capstone. Now, that doesn't mean, from what I've heard, that it's going to change like the product at all, other than just having like Capstone on there for the US.
Okay.
But from what I've heard, Z-Man can be a little hard to keep those things in stock or have publishing runs, and it seems like Capstone does a better job of that. So
okay, I mean that's a huge score for Capstone to pull down like Feast for Odin and Gaia Project. I mean even Terra Mystica like is a little bit older, but that's a huge one for them to get added to their like library of games.
Yeah.
Although it does say, never mind, I'll scroll down a bit. Feast for Odin will continue to be distributed through Asmodee US. Terra Mystica, its expansions, and Gaia Project are going to be moved over to Capstone. So, okay. Interesting. Yeah. So yeah, Feuerland and Z-Man kind of parting ways, but in a very friendly manner.
Yep. Basically, it seems like they've grown big enough that Z-Man's like, all right, you can just handle this your own self.
Yeah, we're gonna let you take care of this. So,
and our last bit of news, shocker, Fantasy Flight's going to continue pumping out Arkham Horror LCG content.
You don't say.
With their new deluxe expansion, the Innsmouth Conspiracy.
Yeah, so this is the 6th deluxe expansion for Arkham Horror, and they're dropping it. So this is going to be 2 new scenarios that they describe as twisting time jumping tales. from the heart of Innsmouth itself to the tortuous coastline and beyond. And then it's also going to include 5 new investigators, an undersea trove of player cards to support new deck types, along with new mechanics for players to get into, including keys, flood tokens, bless tokens, and curse tokens.
And when I was reading this earlier, I was like, is this the first time they've had curses and blesses in the game? I guess they just hadn't had that mechanic in there before.
I guess not.
Yeah, because the normal way of working it with dice doesn't work, so yeah.
I just would have thought they would have come up with some way to do that by now.
Well, now they have.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's gonna add a whole bunch of different stuff to kind of keep things fresh.
I mean, people won't shut up about Arkham LCG on Slack, so I guess they'll have to wait until Q4 of this year to be able to get it, though.
Huh. Ooh. Yeah, so bless tokens, reading forward a little bit here, they get added to the bag with all the other tokens, and when you draw one, they don't provide a final answer. So like pretty much everything else you draw, like you add that to your result or resolve whatever the token is, and then that's the end of your test. Blesses are just a +2, but then you have to draw again. And conversely, a curse, similarly, you draw, it's a -2, and then you have to draw again. And then they are permanently removed from the bag when they are drawn.
I mean, that makes sense because with blessings and curses in the game, it means it's either easier to pass or harder to pass, but it doesn't negate that. So.
Yeah. So, it should release early Q4 2020, and you can pre-order that now if you are interested. $29.95 is the pre-order price here on Fantasy Flight's website. I don't know if this was the one. I saw something on Twitter today that looked Arkham-ish, where it was like 2 sets of cards, and one was like an alley cat, and then the other one was like a weird possessed alley cat that was called Deja Vu. But I don't think that was real. It might not have been related to this.
I'm sure they have delved deep into whatever leaks have come out, because they need to hit that Arkham vein day after day.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I'm sure that the entire main cadre of people who post in the board game Slack, board game channel on our Slack, are going to be very excited that they have more Arkham Horror LCG to just talk about nonstop, because that's all they do.
Yes, that's all. That's the only game that exists now.
Yeah, they almost need their own channel. Almost.
we haven't fallen down that far yet.
Yeah, haven't banished them
We wouldn't
yet.
have any conversation about literally anywhere else in Slack then.
That's true,
yeah. The Arkham LCG channel.
Well, it'd be Arkham LCG and then occasional rantings in news and politics from mostly Paul.
Yes.
Anyways, that wraps up news, and we can move over to Kickstarters.
Yay! First up in Kickstarter this week, Mini Express. Mini Express is well-funded. 27,000 of its $10,000 goal. 662 backers. And still 2 weeks left to go, which you can pledge this one for $41 plus $13 to $30 shipping.
Yeah. So Mini Express is coming to us from Mark Gertz and Moedius.
I should mention that this game is on Tabletopia right now, so you can play it.
Yes. As I was saying, Mini Express is coming to us from designer Mark Gertz and Moedius Game Design, who previously teamed up on Mini Rails. So Mini Express, kind of another one in that line of games. They are describing it as an 18xx light board game, combining simple mechanics with deep strategic interaction. It's a game for 3 to 5 players where you're managing one of 4 railroad companies. And essentially, as the game plays out, you have 2 actions that you can do in the game. You can build tracks. And so you choose any one of the companies that has train tokens available, and you build a new connection to a new city via the shortest route that is available. Then you increase the track length marker by the number of hexes that you extended their rails, and increase your personal influence in the colors that are in demand at the new station. Or, if you choose not to build tracks, you can buy shares. So you take a share from a company that has shares available, you reduce your reputation if they still have train tokens available, and then you add 3 train tokens to the assets. So between those two actions, you're kind of balancing, trying to spread the tracks with that build track action. And as companies run out of tracks, you need people to buy shares to add more like track ability, building ability into the company. Then at the end of the game, you basically compare everybody's rank in the 4 companies, and depending on their rank, each share is going to give you different amounts of victory points, and then you get all your victory points totaled up based on the number of shares you have in the various companies, and whoever has the most wins. They say that it takes about 45 to 60 minutes to play, which is easily the most interesting thing for me about the game, is that it sounds like it's kind of it sounds light in the rules for me, kind of like mini Rails really was. But it was still something that triggered just kind of enough of the decisions that I like about 18xx in a really simple design. So I'm definitely interested.
At a quick glance, this makes me think of Irish Gauge.
The way you build the rails, especially using the little train tokens, and they use almost the exact same style of laser cut train tokens, I can definitely understand that general feeling. The biggest difference, at least from a visual perspective immediately, is that unlike Irish Gauge, this one uses a map of the US, not a map of Ireland.
Oh.
Oh.
That's just mind-blowing right there.
Holy shit.
So
but there's actually like goods in the cities and things like that, so
yeah.
It seems like a lot deeper Irish Gauge, as much as I enjoy Irish Gauge.
Yeah. Zach, they do have a line here. If you enjoyed Mini Rails, you'll love exploring the various strategies of Mini Express we know we have. They do not have... They do not, however, anywhere state that if you absolutely hated Mini Rails and found it the dullest shit ever, that you would also probably enjoy this game and you should give it a fair chance. But I'm going to say that that goes without saying, and so you should, you'll probably enjoy this game and you should give it a chance.
When did you have to play Mini Rails?
This was a long time ago.
I mean,
think I played it once, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
He didn't have to. I talked him into playing it. I think once or twice.
Okay.
I think and then Paul played it, and he was also in that same boat of like, "Oh my god, fuck this game."
Yeah. Even I kind of did tire of Mini Rails a little bit. It was a little too distilled, and honestly, that I do have some concerns with this one, considering how often. Like multiple times in this thing, they stress. Let me find one of them in the scroll around thing here. They basically like stress like, "Hey, kids can play this game." And it's like, if kids can play it, I don't know if it's going to be anywhere near as deep as I would like it to be. Yeah, like down towards the bottom, right above the game reviews, one of the last things is showing like 2 children playing. Even kids can quickly understand.
Yeah, well,
and like up towards the top somewhere, they'd mentioned something about like, it only has 2 rules, so it's easy to teach to kids. And it's like,
they've got you there.
And despite the fact that they mentioned that Moedius has previously produced both Flow of History and Tulip Bubble, neither one of those seem to be available in the add-ons. But Mini Rail sure is. They seem to want to move some copies of Mini Rails and some copies of some other games that are interesting, like Braves Retry, which is very anime-ish from the art style, and I'm not very interested in. But yeah, I did at least really like the components of Mini Rails, and it looks like the components of Mini Express look really nice. One of the optional add-ons is a sweet neoprene mat. And the like board and component design for it actually look pretty good from the little bits that they have available to check out. They've unlocked a bunch of stretch goals too for like thicker board, larger trains, thicker tiles, things like that. So, moving right along.
Yeah.
I don't know. Cautiously optimistic. I'll check it out in a couple weeks before it ends and make a decision. But that's Mini Express. Next up in Kickstarters.
Last up on Kickstarter, we have Wyrmwood Dice. Dice by Wyrmwood. Extremely well-funded. Possibly Wyrmwood's most well-funded Kickstarter. $1.1 million of their $10,000 goal. 8,900 backers. Still a week left to pledge this one, which you can for, as all Wyrmwoods, a wide variety. But a set of dice can set you only $10 or so, up to many hundreds of dollars. And then they have like $5 to $40 shipping.
Yeah. So real quick note before I get too much into this, on those pledge tiers, they have only 3 options for the actual tiers. There's a $5 or more tier, but you cannot get wood dice on that tier. If you want wood dice, you have to pledge at the 26 or more tier. And then there is a $1,500 tier if you're a crazy person.
And want a giant tungsten D20.
Yeah.
Which 8 people are crazy.
Yeah. Both of or all 3 of the tiers that are remaining are technically limited, but that's only because they're different waves. Yeah, so we're already in wave 6 for the wood dice tier and wave 3 for the non-wood dice tier. So just kind of keep that in mind as you pledge for these. So these dice are fucking sweet. Wes, I'm sorry. I hate to do this to you, but if it makes you feel any better, I'm in the same boat in that I want all of them.
So what it is a standard D&D set of dice. D4, D6, D8, 2D10s, D12, D20.
Yes. So 7 dice, traditional set, which the new stuff that Wizards has actually been putting out, they've been doing 8 to I think 10 dice sets because they're throwing in 2 D20s because they've started really doing a lot of advantage disadvantages, which is roll 2, take the highest or lowest, and then they throw in 3 extra D6s because of all the things that are roll 4 D6 and go fucking nuts.
So all the pledges also, you can add another D20 and an additional 3 D6 on top of the regular
so
set.
You can get it to that more standard D&D 7 or 10 dice set or 11, whatever. Math.
But when a single D20 is $22.
Potentially, yeah, a lot of money. So these dice are fucking sweet. So Wyrmwood, for anybody who is not familiar with Wyrmwood, they're really known for a little bit for their sweet tables that are $4,000 starting. Their cheapest table, I think, is $3,700 with no additional features and no shipping.
Yeah.
They also make a shit ton of sweet wooden components, dice trays and dice towers and dice vaults and all kinds of cool stuff. This is their first time going into doing dice. And man, did they go full Wyrmwood on doing expensive, really high quality dice. It's bonkers.
One of the things that they've always had, or recently at least, have been dice vaults, basically wooden things to hold the dice, which you can actually add onto all of these dice purchases as well. Although it's funny that you can add the extra dice, but the extra dice would mean that you can't fit it in your vault if you buy that. So.
Yeah. Depending on which vaults you get and stuff, but yes. So there's basically several different materials that you can choose from. There are the wood dice, which are at that higher, further back tier.
Because it's good, dense, good quality wood.
Yeah. There's wood dice. There's resin dice, which are some of the most common ones and the cheaper ones. There's glass dice. And then there are gemstone dice. And it is a huge Kickstarter page. And as you get far enough down into it, you can start to see all the different options. And
fall into the same trap that Adrian did of oh, that one looks real good. Oh, that one's $100. Oh, no.
Just while it's screaming in the distance.
Yeah. So their base set is their marble set, which is okay looking. It's pretty cool. It's $10 for the 7-piece set, $2 for a D20.
One?
Huh?
Isn't that for the resin one?
It is resin, but it's their marble set. Which is one of the problems I have with this Kickstarter is that they're not necessarily clear about that.
Okay.
So it's the marbled like design of a resin die. 10 for the 7-piece, $2 for an extra D20, $4 for an extra 3D6. And then there's a bunch more resin ones, and you're scrolling through them, and the resin ones, don't get me wrong, look real nice. I definitely want some of them, but I'd seen the gemstone earlier that I wanted, and you can tell when you leave the resin and move into the gemstones, because it goes from $10 for a 7-piece set to $72 for a 7-piece set of their cheapest gemstone, which is the gold sandstone dice. You can keep climbing until you get to the Howlite, which is the first of my super favorites, for $80 for the 7-piece dice set, plus $22 for an additional D20, plus $18 for the extra 3D6, which brings you to a whopping $110 for the whole, or $120, sorry, for the whole like full set that I really would want. And then more if you want to get a dice vault, which why wouldn't you? They have a great picture of how well the dice look sitting in the wooden dice vault. And then it just goes up from there. Like you just keep scrolling past that, and like the cherry wood set, $83 for a 7-piece set, looks amazing. You eventually get up to like an ebony set that is just easily one of the nicest dice sets I've ever seen. And I just want it so bad. But I cannot justify spending hundreds of dollars on a handful of dice. I just can't do it. It's amazing.
Have you tried?
I mean, I actually do have a lot of money right now. I have way more money than I can be responsible with. I almost bought a car because I have car money right now. Guess I should throw it at dice.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right. For all those people you can play your dice games with.
Oh, I know, right. Well, when we play MHDD, we do still roll our own dice on our tables and just read the values. We don't use the dice roller apps because those are for chumps who don't have their own sweet $100+ a set dice. Oh, the ebony dice are so sweet. Oh, they're beautiful. It's not even fair. $145 for Bennett dice. I don't really like them. They're not that cool. Like, it's a weird, like, I don't know, gemstone maybe. Yeah, it's their. I don't love it. They're unique, but I don't super love it. Yeah. It also bothers me. One thing that is saving me a little bit from my like immediately throw money is that they did their like Wyrmwood symbol on a lot of them for like the D6 or like that Bobby Bennett dice there at the very top have XPBD as the 20, and it's like, I don't want that. I want numbers. If you're really crazy, you can spend $1,500 on a giant titanium D20.
That was tungsten.
Oh, tungsten D20. That makes more sense. Still ridiculous.
This is the largest, heaviest die we could create. We tried to make one bigger, and physics said no.
Sounds about right.
Yep. It's big, it's heavy, it's tungsten, and it can be yours. Thunder isn't angels bowling, it's demons rolling this die. This die will destroy your table, your wallet, and anything else that gets in its way.
12 people have $1,500 to burn on a tungsten die. There's only 8 left. You might miss out if you don't get on it. FOMO on that $1,500 T20.
And you gotta expect that they also were like, well, I'll also buy other dice too. It's not like, well, $1,500 is my cap. That's it.
The fucking ebony set is easily over $200 if you get both of the extra D20 and the extra D6, which I wouldn't do if I got it. I'd cap myself at just the 7 for $134. And then I'd have to get a set. I'd have to get a case for them. I'd have to. So still probably like well over $200. Oh my God. They need bundles, man. They need to entice me with bundles, not just straight add-ons. I mean, these dice are fucking amazing. So many of them are so good. The raised obsidian dice. Oh my God. Anyway, that's the last of the Kickstarters. We got to move on before I pledge something midstream or recording.
Yeah.
So that wraps up news and Kickstarter, which brings us over to listener feedback, which we have some.
Yes.
Starting with emails.
Emails at milehighgameguys.com if you would like to send us an email. Like Ben did, titled Random Questions. Hey guys, the recent lack of emails has seemed to make everyone sad, and it clearly correlates to the number of podcasts that have come out recently. So I'm going to assume that emails are what powers you all to record. Thusly, I've decided to write to you individual questions this time. Jeff, does a travel-sized version of Blood Bowl interest you? I've been considering designing a 3D printable pitch with mini pieces that could fold up or store easily for travel, but I don't know if any other players would have interest. I've only dabbled into Blood Bowl on Steam, as I don't have anyone to play with, but this seems like a fun thing I could take with on trips. I am not so obsessed with Blood Bowl that I would need to take it with me in a travel size wherever I went, because I like the leagues and tournaments and stuff like that, and just kind of like one-off games aren't all that interesting for me, that don't have like some sort of progression, which I guess I would have to be traveling with someone that was in the league or tournament-wise to like want to play this. But it is interesting, and I have seen travel-size versions before, but it would be hard to get enough travel-size minis. I guess you could kind of make enough of the little markers to be like, this is the blitzer, general blitzer positional, this is the general catcher, thrower, etc., lineman. It is neat, though, but if you ever want to play Blood Bowl online, we got 2 leagues going on right now. There's a Blood Bowl 2 league and a Fumble league. Fumble is better, uses more of the current rules, uses Java, so it's older, but it is much more current rules-wise, because fuck Blood Bowl 2. So we always have people to play with online.
Yeah. I would imagine that if you were going to design a travel Blood Bowl set, the easiest way to handle players would be just have like, I don't know, what's the max number of players you can have on one team, Jeff?
16.
16? So have small little magnetic tokens, like little pegs, numbered 1 through 16, and then you just have your roster. Like, that's 1 through however many you have on your team, and you just have to reference the number back and forth.
Yeah, that would suck a lot. It would be much easier to have, like, lettered things for what they are, for, like, blitzer, catcher, lineman. That's much more important than, like, numbers.
Okay. I guess that would maybe make sense.
I mean, you would need both, really, because you need to know which blitzer is that one, because he might have a different skill or something like that.
Right.
Yeah. Travel Blood Bowl is hard with how much bookkeeping there is.
Yeah.
Instead of the minis, you just have it as little numbers, and then that covers the number, and then you just have them slightly colored in different ways, and then that'll tell you.
Yeah.
Sure. I'm not entirely sure what you just said.
It's a lot of loom bands.
Yep.
Yeah. He continues.
Adrian, being the only sports person on the podcast, have you played any sports games you've liked? I don't think I've ever heard you mention playing one, but I'm not sure if you've never had someone to play them with, or if they just aren't up your alley.
Yeah.
Are there sports board games?
I mean, there are. I mean, technically, Blood Bowl is a sports board game.
Are there good sports board games besides Blood Bowl?
There's like stuff like
baseball highlights, something or other, 2045 or something.
Of stuff, I think. Yeah.
There is no, as far as I'm aware, there is no good NFL-based board game.
Because that would require a license that would make it $500.
There is no good football-based, American football-based board game. And considering that is basically the only sport I actually care about, no. I played Bottom of the Ninth, which is like a little 2-player baseball game. It was lackluster and uninspired, in my opinion. I didn't enjoy it at all. I haven't played like baseball highlights because being a baseball manager does not appeal to me. Paul has a dexterity flicker tennis game that I'd like to try.
That one is probably... That one's fun. I like that one.
I feel like the best sports game I've ever played is only a sports game in that it is literally named after a sport, but it has nothing to do with the sport, and that's the card game golf.
That's a low bar. Then,
it's a very low bar. Like, I'm trying to think. Like, I don't think I own any game that could even be remotely described as a sports game. And I'd also like, although I feel like I'm the closest thing the podcast has to a sports person. I like.
You're not even a sports person. You're a football person.
I'm an American football person for one team. Like, I don't follow the rest of the league. I only watch Bronco games. And even last season, I missed half of them, I think. Like, I am so barely a sports person. Yeah. I used to really like UFC. And I'm real bad about, like in theory, I like MMA, but I really only watch UFC. In theory, I like football, but I really only watch the NFL. I play a handful of sports-ish in that, like, I in theory technically play golf. Megan and I have occasionally went and played racquetball, and we'd like to play more. Those are both sports, but I mean, I don't care about them outside of doing them for fun. I'd go frisbee golfing if you guys' schedule ever lined up with us. But
I mean, we play it on the weekends, Adrian.
I exactly. Which is the problem with the NFL and why I missed so many games last year is because it was hard to watch games when I was at work. So, yeah, I don't know. But no, I'm not really aware of any good sports board games. If anybody has any, I'd love to hear about them. I used to love some of the games on like video games. Like, I used to play the shit out of like NCAA, I don't know, 07 or something back in the day.
The last one.
Yeah, I used to play the absolute shit out of that. You know, they had a cool, like, you know, recruit mode where I could make myself into a football player and pretend that I'd played football for more than 2 years in high school and went on to get not drafted, but like recruited by OU. And then I was their star player and got drafted after 4 years of winning national championship after national championship, you know. I used to dig that.
Football 2014 was the last installment.
I had stopped playing long before then. Yeah. Like I said, it was like 07, I think, was one of the last ones I played. I never really liked the Madden ones. I used to love, way back, NFL Blitz. Getting to body slam people. Yeah. So sports video games I used to play more of a long time ago, but even those have fallen away. I used to play like the Tiger Woods PGA golf games or something where you could really crush hole-in-ones because you can control in mid-air how your ball spins, because why not? You're Tiger Woods. You can do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
But board games, not so much. Ben continues.
Zach.
Yes.
I believe you're an accountant. If not,
that is correct.
This question might be completely off target, but he is. So, but I don't think a dry euro about accounting would interest you in the slightest. So, do you think it's possible for a game about accounting to catch your attention? What do you think that game would play like, or would you just prefer to not bring your work into play?
So I think I've said before that the only type I have a not really perverse, but just a big interest in like fraudulent financial gaming, right? So that's Ponzi scheme, stockpile. QE isn't exactly it, but I do really enjoy that. So if a dry euro about accounting wouldn't interest me, maybe it was about laundering money and something like that might be interested, or like try and take dirty money and turn it into good money, like clean money. That might be cool, but just being an accountant by itself would be boring in there. But you make it illegal, now I'm interested.
Okay. All right. Anyway, thanks as always for being the most podcast, Ben. Well, thank you for the most email we've had in a while.
Yes, thank you.
Indeed.
That's it for emails at milehighgameguys.com.
It sure is. So we do have a new comment on YouTube over in Paulo's Corner from Paulo himself. Hi, guys. Another great podcast. Smiley face. Have to say that Jeff's sound is way too low. It already was in the previous episode and did not change for this one. Please try to solve this for the next episode. Smiley face.
Well, you're going to run into a problem where I'm way too loud. Fingers crossed.
We'll see. You definitely, at one point when I, like at the start of the emails, was a bit quiet, but then you got loud again.
Yeah.
And Zach just might have to, use some editing wizardry to make it all better.
Yeah, so I know the first time at least, I wasn't paying attention to that, and there was some stuff I had to cut out because literally Jeff's volume was underneath the threshold for truncate silence.
Oh no!
It would just start like cutting into words, and I was like, oh god. And then I tried doing it on the last one, but when you try and just amplify the entire thing, it doesn't do it that much. It tends to work better when you're like choosing sections, and I just was not interested in spending no time for that. But
well, if for some reason it's not noticeably louder this time, Zach, let me know, since it's going to be in the same Dropbox that we both have access to, and I can use Reaper, which is a slightly better editing software, to tweak it and then just throw it back in. So,
if anything, I could also just throw his thing into whatever that thing we used to use.
Levelator.
Yeah, that might help too. So
also maybe. Or the finished file, because it even does a pretty good job of bringing quiet parts up to match the rest of the file.
Yeah.
So, there's options. But yeah, that's it for listener feedback. If you would like to get in touch with us, there are multiple ways you can do so. You can send us emails.
Emails at milehighgameguys.com.
You can follow us over on Twitter, where I tweet under @MHGameGuys.
I am Zach_MHGG.
I am Jeff_MHGG.
We have an Instagram account /MHGameGuys or @MHGameGuys if you're on Instagram. Anything new over there recently, Jeff?
No.
This reminds me.
You took that one picture of Terraforming Mars. Did you put it on there?
I definitely should have put that up there.
You should have. And I also should have signed on because I do have access to it. And I completely forgot to talk about the fact I played... Oh, no, I talked about Feudum last week. Never mind. So I did talk about Feudum, but I have a photo from Feudum I could have uploaded. Oh, wow. Anyway.
Now we will never know.
Never, ever. We also have a Facebook account, facebook.com/MHGameGuys or groups or something /MHGameGuys. Search MHGameGuys. You'll probably find us on Facebook. We have our website, milehighgameguys.com, where there are links to all of the news and Kickstarter items we talk about on these Wednesday episodes, as well as links to things like our BGG guild number 2731, where when we get back doing streams someday, Zach will get back to doing stream posts and keeping that stream calendar updated. And at some point, there is still, I think one of the most recent posts in the guild is the Q&A thread, which is sparse, and we would like to do a Q&A at some point. We just need to promote more that you need to go over to the guild number 2731 on BGG and submit some questions, and then we can, do a Q&A. We're probably going to wait until we can all get back together and do it in person, because those are a little bit more fun to do just in person around a table. But that gives you plenty of time to think of interesting questions, or inane questions, or stupid questions, or whatever questions you want to ask us, and put them in the thread.
Those.
We like all kinds. Just don't ask us like actual complex questions that require us to do work, like math or science or accounting. Leave that out. But ask us, softballs. Just lob softballs at us so we can crush them. And then we seem like we're awesome. It's win-win, really, for all of us. The website also has links to the Slack channel, where you can join and just chit-chat with all of us about all manner of random things. Please, for the love of God, we need some people to join who don't play Arkham Horror LCG so we can take back control of the board game channel. It has been dominated by Arkham Horror LCG chat for far too long. I'm chafing under the impression, and I want to take it back. So if you don't play Arkham Horror LCG, you're welcome to join the Slack channel. If you do play Arkham Horror LCG, you'll fit in well with the rest of the Slack channel. But yeah. Also, eventually someday we will get back to streaming over on our streaming channel at twitch.tv/MHGameGuys. Right now you can jump over there and watch some Mile High Dungeon Delvers stuff, which is the D&D podcast that I also do on the side every other Tuesday. So there's some videos over there if you want to watch that. I think that pretty much wraps up all the different ways to get a hold of us. As always, we would like to thank our awesome sponsors, Gray Fox Games. Their most recent Kickstarter for Science finished up over on Kickstarter. It is now available for some pre-orders over on their website, grayfoxgames.com, along with some of their other more recent Kickstarters like Tortuga 2199, where you build a crew, hunt space monsters, and become a pirate king in 2199, or After the Empire, where you build a castle, prepare troops, and siege each other in this competitive worker placement game with tower defense elements. So, bunch of cool games coming out of Gray Fox lately, and you can go pre-order them all on their website, grayfoxgames.com. Jeff, do you have a prepared statement?
Of course. Gray Fox Games, quality games, cleverly crafted. Also, we're not tools of the government or anyone else. Fighting was the only thing I was good at. But at least I always fought for what I believed in.
There you go. Fight for what you believe in. It's the only true way.
If it's Division 2, it's just, I don't know, loot. I believe
also,
in
yes.
loot.
I should buy Division 2 now, right? Because it's the perfect time for you guys to just never play it ever again.
Actually, it would be the perfect time if you got the Ultimate Edition, because you can dive right into New York content and can skip all the old content.
No, well, there you go.
You're going to spend like $80 real quick, Adrian?
I do not. Well, not on Division 2. But I do on Wyrmwood dice. But yeah, that wraps up the episode. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Thanks, Ben, for sending us an email. Thanks to our sponsors. Thanks to our patrons. Thanks to all of you who listen to this show and, keep downloading and give us a reason to do this shit week in and week out, even in the midst of everything that's happening in the world today. So we appreciate it. And as always, I've been your host, Adrian.
I am still Zach.
And I'm Giant Murder Jeff.
Bye.
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 Punchboard Media, where we all
bring something
to the table.
Pull up a chair
at punchboardmedia.com.